License renewal to serve vinous beverages at the Home Court Inn.
Did you go sampling?
I beg your pardon?
Hey, hello, Dave. Did you bring a sampling?
No, but come on by the house.
Oh,
Don't get nervous.
okay.
I know.
I just don't pay
I was
attention.
anxious.
We're good. Everyone, all the selectmen have had a chance to look over the information provided. Any questions? Okay, none being heard, I'll entertain a motion to, oh no,
Comments on the audience.
comments from the audience.
What'd
None
you say?
being heard,
I've had it.
then we will close the,
Have you got a comment, Marlene?
is that a comment?
I see you with your
Okay.
hand up.
Then we will come out of the public hearing and open the selectmen's meeting.
I make a motion that we renew the liquor license for the Home Court Inn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? It's just one area there, John? Okay. Well, that's going on.
Make a motion to sign warrants.
Second it?
Motion and a second. All in favor?
No, we didn't.
As you see, we have the minutes of 3 previous meetings, and they need to be done individual motions.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of March 12th.
Second.
Okay, what this meeting was, at the last selectmen's meeting, March 13th, there were some questions on the weather. So at the budget meeting on March 12th, the selectmen entered into a brief selectmen's meeting to sign the warrants, so that the bills could be paid in the event that a storm canceled the selectmen's meeting on the 13th. So
Okay.
it was just one item.
One item, and we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Thank you. March 13th meeting.
March 13th was the previous regularly scheduled selectmen's meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of March 13th.
Second.
All in favor? And the March 17th meeting.
Motion, oh, go ahead.
I'm going to say the meeting of March 17th was a special selectmen's meeting that went into executive session. We had a discussion with the Board of Selectmen for the town of Lubec and a couple board members and the director of down East EMS on some refinancing concerns.
Make a motion to accept the minutes, March 17th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? All right. Moving along to old business. First item on this is discuss vacancy on the school board. Previously, we motioned to allow it to run out.
Yep.
And
That was my fault. I didn't realize that the state statute says that we do have to fill a vacancy. I thought we had done it previously. I guess if we did, we were in error. So I rescind my motion on that. So I guess I just need a second.
yes.
I second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Okay. Going forward, there will be an ad in the Quaddy Tides tomorrow for people interested in stepping forward to be on the school board. Now, this is only until the next municipal election in August. So it's not a long-term, it's short-term. We had 2 people that have come forward and expressed an interest. We're running the ad so that anybody that has an interest for this short-term position will be able to come forward, and the selectmen will make their choice at the next meeting.
That's good. Okay, and the second item under old business is the Washington County Council of Governments representative from the town of Lubec, which is a citizen representative.
Last year, we had a gentleman named John Ennis serve with our selectman representative, Sarah McConnell. We put an ad in the paper asking for interested individuals. John said that he would be interested, but his schedule does not allow him to attend all the meetings. Bob Foster, a resident of Lubec, has come forward and said he would be interested in being a representative on the board,
Wow.
County Council of Governments. So that would be up to the selectmen to,
Well, if he'd like to be on the board then,
Motion.
I'm going to make a motion that Bob will take that position. He's a knowledgeable man, I think he'll do good.
All right, we have a motion.
Oh, I'll second it. Sorry.
I forget that as chair, I can't make motions, but I can second. All right, next time I'll look one up.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, all in favor? Okay, Bob, if you're watching at home,
You're in.
Congratulations.
Meeting
Yes.
for the next meeting, I was about to ask,
is, I'm gonna look at my calendar. First, second, Monday.
and thank you for,
Volunteering.
Yeah, thank you for volunteering, it's a big plus.
and that's the thing is, we got a lot of committees, there's a lot of things that we've got going on, and without people stepping forward, it's hard to get things done.
Yeah, it really is.
The next meeting will be April 14th at 5:30 at the Millbridge Public Library.
April 14th, 5:30, Millbridge.
Public library.
All right, John, will you give Bob
Yes, I
a
will.
call tomorrow and let him know that he's now our citizen rep, and when the next meeting is?
I'll let him know because he has to come in and sign
And that too.
So I'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you. Moving along to new business.
John Huff is here to discuss the marathon with the select board. John, come on up.
Okay,
A
thank
lot of
you.
people, I'm sure, remember you from last year.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I pretty much shut down the town for a day or something.
Yeah, it was your fault. You're the guy.
Well, thank you for asking me back. Well, Rachel Rubio is also here as our US co-chair. As you know, we have the 2 co-chairs, one from each side of the border. What we wanted to do tonight was basically 3 things. But first of all, tell you where we are in planning for this year. Second, ask for your formal approval to go ahead as intended. And thirdly, to tell you a little bit about what we're thinking going forward into the future. And of course, answer any questions, make a note of any issues you might have. So in terms of planning for this year, or preparation actually, is where we are at the moment. Things are really beginning to rev up quite a lot. We have nearly 200 marathoners signed up and just slightly fewer 10K runners signed up. We're expecting that to get up to about 300 in each event. Now this is quite a lot less than last year. Seems to be for 2 reasons. The first, we've heard from a lot of teachers and parents that with the earlier date, school isn't finished and traveling for the weekend is problematic.
Good.
And the second thing, which is a good reason, we pray that we do not have a repeat of Boston. which last year, of course, caused a lot of people to want to register to qualify for this year's Boston Marathon. So numbers a bit down at this point because of those two things. One, we obviously don't want to do anything about. The other, we can think about. It does mean that this year financially we're a lot tighter and we're having to be extremely careful. We have had lots of good coverage and good reviews in many places. Canadian Running has just put out an announcement about a new race guide that it's producing. And on their sample page, the first three events, us, the Blue Nose Marathon, and the Cabo Trail Relay. Blue Nose Marathon and the Cabo Trail Relay, the two most famous events in the Maritimes. And we're right up there beside them. And we have pretty much the same number of stars. We have one more star than the Blue Nose on something. So, you know, we've done a lot of stuff right. We seem to be there, we've just got to keep it there. One of the innovations that we have going this year, Campobello Island School has challenged 8 middle schools in the area to put together relay teams. So 8 kids, 8 middle schoolers, each running 5 kilometers, handing over to the next person. We only have one school that's responded yet, which is the St. Stephen's School. Lubec School hasn't responded yet. So we're hoping Lubec School can raise 8 middle schoolers who can each run 5K. And we're hoping the others will come through. But it's on, we've got 2 teams competing at least, and we hope it'll grow.
That's a start.
Yeah, foundations. We're working with the emergency management services again. We have various coordination meetings set up. Everyone is being extremely cooperative, and looks like that will be fairly smooth, hopefully. We do have flyers out that you should be seeing around town, and I think there was some here, a great big bunch. So we're kind of passing out the message. One of the things that we get a lot of praise for is the warm welcome that runners feel they received when they got here. They felt they were really, really made welcome, and that sort of crowds, that's a big thing for them. And lots of them flagged it. And so we hope we can repeat that kind of warm, fuzzy feeling again this year.
There
And
might be one kerfuffle this year, that we just heard that the school is going to run till June the 19th, I think, because of all the snow days. So if we're on the 15th, we're going to need the cafeteria the 14th, and probably some of the school on the 15th. So hopefully that's not going to interfere with the process.
so we have more work to do.
Yeah, and we have to.
We've got to sort that one out now.
Yes, yeah.
And it's Saturday and Sunday.
I can't remember the date, but somewhere in South
The S turn,
is that yes turn and down
and by the Minzy place, yeah. I don't think it's after,
The
but
S turn should be done, and I think the one down by the Minzy place
Is that for the-
is not gonna be this year.
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, because that one is growing and it's going to be a
That
big
construction
project.
would make it a little bit
Do
tougher.
we know when it's going to happen? And who can I call?
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good window of time, right, John?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who the gentleman was who had contacted you regarding that.
John Devon.
John Devon.
Yeah, the S curve, I believe, is already under construction.
Yeah,
Right.
That's supposed to be a very short-term project.
So that'll probably be all done, and then you don't have to worry about the Minzy place on
I
that.
don't think so, I'll double check.
Next year, the following year could be.
Could you give me the contact for John Denny?
Yep.
The email, because I need to talk to him and let him know what happens from our end, what he's doing, so we can work that. Like on the bridge last year.
Yep.
There was the work on the bridge, it was all sorted out wonderfully, the contractor took everything off the bridge.
Right.
It actually worked to our advantage because we had
Yeah, it did.
All the equipment around, so it worked very well indeed.
Yeah.
So, you know, most people can deal with things as long as they don't get surprises.
Yeah.
Which is one reason we're here talking to you now.
No, John's been great to deal with. So,
Good. And the last point on preparing for this year is, of course, we are looking for volunteers still. We're always looking for volunteers to help out, both in the days just before getting everything straightened out on the day, and then for a couple of days afterwards, cleaning everything up, storing it, and so on. So that's what we're up to for this year.
So you have a website,
We have had a website since the beginning.
okay, and that website is www.bayoffundymarathon.com. If anyone's interested in volunteering in some way, one form or another, please use that website to contact John. And a lot of people helped last year, and I'm sure now that you're veterans of this, your help would be easier this year.
Right.
So, you know, don't hesitate to give them a call.
Yeah.
And if you can't, if you're not in a position to volunteer, come out on the day and cheer on the runners.
Yeah.
Oh,
Make
that's
them
true,
welcome.
yes.
It makes a big
Yeah,
difference.
they had a pretty scary bunch down at the bridge. That was drums and garbage can lids and...
That's
It was fun.
terrific.
Oh, you were one of them?
It was fun.
You were one of them?
Well, I was supposed to be on duty, but I kept going down. We did. We'd walk down.
Okay, so I guess you wanted to find out if we were amenable to all of this?
Yep, yep.
Oh, I think it's
Yeah, wonderful.
more than great.
Yeah.
I would take that as a yes vote.
And,
And,
you're professional, you work everything, all things organized.
We thank you all for doing such a good job.
It really needs a big lot of back.
We have a good committee,
Mhm.
a lot of good people.
It's good to see the kids getting involved too.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
it is.
great, that's a great thing.
It was, they had a lot of surprises. I mean, for a native, I was on Front Street with one of the owners of a local business, and we was cheering, and we looked at one another and said, man, you think you'd be this excited? But we were, and it was really a cool process, and some of the folks that was in the run, two in particular, ran down for a quick dip, and it was a quick dip.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
They
and
need to come back for the
when they hit the
dip.
shoreline, they said, how cold is that water? And it was neat, it really was, you know?
That's nice.
well, I know the day of last year's marathon, there was a group here that monitored all of the radio transmissions at all of the water stops and the checkpoints. And I think what I would like to see change about that this year is if you have young people interested in telecommunications and emergency type response, you know, how to handle that. If there's somebody interested in doing that, it'd be a great opportunity for them to figure out how the adults do it.
Yeah.
We're always looking for young people, because we know, you know, they may take over.
We hope
We hope.
they take over.
Yeah.
When they take
When they-
That's right.
it, before they get to our age.
Yes, yes.
John, did you want to talk about moving forward in 2000, you know, from
We
here
haven't
on?
gotten there yet.
Okay. I'm always doing this.
That's good. We will
Okay.
put the word out on that. That's
Right.
an excellent suggestion.
Thank you.
We do have the support this year of the local radio hound group.
Oh, is that?
That's what I was
Oh,
thinking.
good.
Yes.
And they're going to be out and providing support. One of the things we learned last year is that particularly for people working as volunteers who are unfamiliar with radio communication, doing radio communication and their volunteer job was challenging. So we'll have the radio hand backup at the key points, who are essentially communications assistants to make sure that the communications works a lot more smoothly.
Excellent. Yeah, that's cool.
But I think having some young people also who are kind of getting
An introduction, get their feet
getting
wet.
them excited,
Sure.
interested,
Yeah.
is an excellent idea. Yep.
Yeah, most
Well, I know in our area, Tracy Sawtell had his oldest one there, and he's so excited, he couldn't wait, he can't wait till for.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And I mean, he's only like 12, or
Yeah.
11.
Yep.
and can't wait to get
Yeah,
it.
I hope to go around and generate that interest in the schools
Yeah.
and bring around some registration forms.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
utilize, once again, I'll always say, utilize the Channel 7. The town has a new website now, which has, could do a little bit more than what the old one could. Please, let us know if we can help get the word out in any way. And I think we're gonna have a good year. I think the weather will be fine. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting
It's
rid of
been good so far.
all the bad weather, we're getting through
We're
that.
fine.
We're almost booked again this year at the campground already. And the only negative thing, I've had 2 people tell me that the course was too hard. We didn't know that course was gonna be that challenging.
Tough enough.
I understood it was just the hills in Canada, over here.
They're gonna come and do it again.
Good,
Right.
good, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
So if I go on to the last piece, which is looking forward. One general issue. A lot of people have said it would be good to fix the day so we know when it's coming. And we also want to, it's helpful for us if we fix the day as well. And going forward into the future, you can book that weekend. That weekend is going to be marathon weekend. So what we're talking about, we've looked at this very carefully at everything going on. We've got enormous planning charts. We're looking at the 4th Sunday in June. Whatever the 4th Sunday is in June. Not the 5th Sunday, because sometimes that runs into Canada Day. The 3rd Sunday is Father's Day. The 2nd Sunday is
Flag Day.
Okay.
Flag Day.
Plus all the schools are still in action and everything, so we want to stay in the shoulder season, but we want to get after school, so we're looking for that that spot. Everyone who we've said 4th Sunday in June to so far, we said, great, good. That's all we need to know. We know we can plan, we can adjust, we can adapt, and should be okay.
Look at your
That's
vehicle
what we're
now.
floating.
The only thing we had last year, and because we wanted to do it 4th Sunday, is that it also coincides with the beginning of Summer Keys. But I think we can turn this to be to our advantage, that, Summer Keys, people will see this as an event to add to their experience. So I think it'll be okay. And the B&Bs will fill up.
June 28th, 2015.
June 28th.
Tell you for the next
Yes.
6 years if you'd like.
Not to be confused with this year's, which is June 15th.
Actually, I have it all the way
I
up
was
to
gonna ask about that
2023.
date on the handout. If that's what it is this year.
This year.
Correct.
Okay, so this year's June 15th, but
Father's Day.
going forward in the future,
It will be the 28th,
the 28th.
and then it will be the 26th, then it will be the 25th,
Well,
then the 24th, then the 23rd, then the 22nd, then it skips back to the 27th, 26th, so and
Right.
25th.
every time. Yeah.
So you're gonna be chair for all those years?
Nope. I'm not chair anyway.
Well, keep us in the information loop, John, please.
Yeah.
The other innovation that we're looking at specifically for next year is adding a half marathon. I didn't think we could do it because I couldn't figure out how we could work out the course. Secondly, we have the slight issue of the border, people going back and forward, not wanting to carry their passports in their running vests. And thirdly, just the logistics. We think we have a course, and it would start at Wilson's Beach. It would run to Head Harbour, the lighthouse, come all the way back along the island, across the border, and finish on Water Street. So we think that will be a very attractive course. The half marathon at the moment is sort of the most popular and growing event in running in, I think, the world, certainly in North America. And I think
8 mile.
13.1.
13.1.
Yeah, half of the marathon. And, it's an easier distance. A lot of people can do it who are just general runners without a lot of special training. I suspect the number of marathoners is kind of leveling off a bit. Went through this big surge and it's not declining, but it's not growing. Half marathon is growing very rapidly. So if we do add that, we should be able to significantly bump up the numbers. We'll have to be very careful with how we do it because with probably having slightly fewer this year, it's going to consolidate our learning from last year, but it's not going to give us the experience of dealing with more people, which is kind of what we were hoping, wanting to inch it up a little bit every year, because our sort of notional target is about 2,000. We suspect that we can handle up to 2,000, probably not more than that. But we want to go there slowly. And if we can get there and that works and everything's good, we will have a fantastic event.
Yeah.
I think it was fantastic last year.
And it went very well for the first time. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, for the number of people that come through town
Yeah.
and for shutting the town down. I
Yeah.
mean,
Get through the border.
yeah.
And back.
That's good for us to hear, since most of us were so in the middle of it, we couldn't see the whole.
Well, that's what I tried to express at that follow-up meeting, was having sat here for the whole day listening to radio transmissions.
Yeah.
And there was no big emergencies, there was no big problems, it was like little stuff. And the one thing we found out was the radios all the way at the end of Campobello didn't really have enough oomph to be clearly understood. But other than that, it seemed pretty smooth. So,
Good to know.
it'll happen again.
Yeah. That's it.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much.
That's the thing is, a lot of the stuff there that we've got going on, it takes a lot of people and a lot of commitment to make it happen. I mean, whether you can go to meetings night after night, or whether you can just donate time for a day, or, like John was saying, even just do a small part, something that you can do to contribute. I think every bit helps.
Okay, moving along.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks.
Sign the sewer commitment.
Move it first.
Prove it first.
Motion to sign.
Second.
He jumped in.
All in favor?
Yeah. Bring it on.
Thank you. Well, that's going around. John, if you would be so kind as to give us the update on Axiom.
Yeah, we've been working, we had some issues with our current internet provider. We've been looking at alternative. Axiom appears to be a viable alternative. We had times when our current broadband provider was down, and then you go over the ambulance bay and theirs is up. We had a period that was a little over 2 weeks, and Randy was unable to move information down to the bank. He had to do payroll on paper checks because the internet was down. We looked at some pricing. Axiom does give us a pricing advantage because this building has no charge. We've also talked about updating our website. We've been working with the GovOffice 2 model. Renee's done a lot of work. Lubec, the marathon indicates we're selling everything that we've got going on. We're selling the beauty of the area. But it's hard to sell it when you've got a template that's limited. Renee has worked on a couple of templates. We've secured a domain name, townoflubec.com. So if anybody goes on the web and sees townlubec.com,
It's ours.
you will see the potential new website. Renee's able to do a lot with the local features, moving pictures over. One of the concerns she had going forward was we've got so much information on our current website. She was wondering how long it would take to move everything over, and she's informed me that she's got just about everything migrated over.
And you said that we'll have both sites for a year?
Yeah, we've recently paid the bill for our current website. This gives us a chance to try out the new one, see how it goes.
I think it's a good idea that the old one is there for a year, and if it's advertised on it, which it is, and we'll
Yep,
switch over,
it'll be-
that's really good.
We moved. Yeah.
Right, it's really slick.
Yeah, the new website is a lot, it's more modern, and even though it doesn't have the information on the site to click on, it has the header band, which is the same thing.
And we're looking at the same information on the new website.
Yep.
We're looking at it more visibly pleasing.
Yep.
We can do more with it, more options, and there's a whole host of different templates that you can use different photos, different arrangements, and Renee's really good with it.
We have a question from the audience.
Does the new website handle a video?
Yes.
So we have like a tour,
Actually, there's two now on it. One is the little tourism video showing the breakwater and looking out at Head Harbor. And then the other one is the current select board meeting until the next select board meeting is downloaded on. But all of the Town of Lubec select board meetings are on YouTube.
So I'm not talking about this, I'm talking about some scenic videos.
Yes, they're all, yes.
You don't
There's
think
already
we're
one on
seeing
there.
it?
Haven't you gone on your website?
No, not yet.
Okay, check it out sometime.
You don't think we're seeing it?
No, I didn't say that. Do we have some scenic movies? on there?
Right.
I seen it, I seen
I
it.
see, like dolphins swimming and,
Right.
All right.
So I'd like to have,
Yeah, so,
allow us to,
this is saving us money, it's updating us, upgrading us, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I'll entertain a motion for us to,
Make a motion to move over to the
Axiom.
next
Okay,
one.
do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? And thank you, John, and please pass along our thanks to Renee for all the work she's done on that, because it is fantastic.
So John, when are you expecting this contract to go into effect?
I'm hoping to have it right out. I've been in talk with a gentleman named Jesse Robichaud. They're interested in hooking us up. He's provided us a lot of information, answered a lot of questions on the website. It should be something that would happen fairly quickly. About the only hurdle I think that we're going to have to clear is if we do go to Axiom, we're going to have 5 emails, and we'll be swapping our emails over, and we'll have to update our contacts. But if we stay with the townoflubec.com, if we ever go to another provider, we'll just take that domain right with us.
Those emails won't change, they're not individual name specific, they're title specific. So,
Good.
yeah, so that is just, it avoids the housekeeping move of having to
Yeah,
now change
change
it.
names, yeah.
Exactly. So, good.
We work with Axiom for our website at work. And I was never, Renee knows what she's doing, she does a great job. Me, on the other hand, I call Renee or Jesse when I need help, but I can easily go on and do things, so it's a good format, and the people involved will be good
Good.
Smooth sailing.
Next up.
We've talked in the past about maybe sitting down with local businesses and having a discussion with them. Some of the time frame could be late April, early May. What are some of the concerns? It's been been something that I think for the past couple of years, usually in the winter months. I either get it from somebody downtown or in talking to the selectmen. So I wanted to know what the selectmen thought about setting a date. We put it out on Channel 7, put it out, and just talk to people, and local businesses could come in. Any concerns, anything that they want to sit down with the select board on?
Yep, I think it's a good idea.
What ideas do they have from the business community for economic development? What would they like to see? Just see what they bring.
Right, and to update them on anything that like, with the tourists coming here by the boat full from whatever, and to mention different things.
Right.
Right.
Because some businesses are fairly busy and they don't get updated as often, and this will make an opportunity for them to do just that, right?
Yes.
Good idea.
Right. I think it's a obvious segue to the developments in Eastport and Campobello regarding the cruise ships that will be visiting our location, regional location. Of course, Lubec is not capable of taking the cruise ship, although we expect there will be an increase in tourist activity based on water taxis and the ferry from Eastport, and the fact that the Friars Bay Development Group has included Lubec in their marketing strategy for this
That's
region.
great. That's wonderful.
So a lot of businesses would sure like to know when's the next one coming, because they'd like to have stock on hand or have enough food in the larders to feed
Right.
groups. And along with that, I've had several people ask me, does Lubec have the Chamber of Commerce? No. And they've asked about, they've asked about a Lubec Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
So maybe this could be a topic at one of the meetings of this, and I think this forum is a good exercise in us working together. So let's find out what date is going to work.
It might be a good idea to see when the Coastal Chamber regularly meets, because they would be going to that meeting anyway. It's already
Well,
scheduled.
what was expressed to me is that not all groups or businesses are members of it.
Well, no, but if you use that date as a placeholder, all of those businesses already have it.
Okay. All right. Well, I felt it was worthy of mention. So how do we want to, before we leave this topic, how do we want to establish this meeting date? Because we're getting pretty busy.
We are getting busy.
This April, between April and May is going to be, right.
Yeah, we have a lot of good stuff going on.
And of course, like Jim and I know, we're workers, and then you want to have a meeting in the middle of the day, and we want to kick somebody in the ankle when we get here. And a businessman's not going to want to leave, his business to come to a meeting, so let's figure out what time works that wouldn't be an inconvenience to them or us.
Well, that's the big thing with that. I was thinking like April, May, early May, late April, somewhere in that time frame, before we started seeing the large volume of people come into town. But then late enough so that people that do winter in other areas are back.
Yep.
And, you've got all that enthusiasm of the upcoming season. And, let's just kind of see what they bring to the table, so.
Well, maybe as a result of the coverage of this meeting, some business owners may call you with curiosity as to this.
Call.
And I also urge you to reach out to some of our local
Yes.
businesses and just get a feel for what will work.
Sounds good.
I believe years ago, there was a community and economic development committee. And they met at the library. I know Bill Jackson was a member, Peter Boyce was a member. I can't remember, I think there were 8 or 9. And they, disbanded or what happened or whatever, but there was a committee and they did meet at the library. And that was
Right.
quite a few years ago, but.
Well, we'll just see. Maybe something like that will come out of this. All right.
Next item, I got a note from a lady named Jessica. I'm not even going to try her last name.
I think it's Jansu.
She's with the University of Maine, and she sent me a note saying, we invite you to join us for an informal meeting on the University of Maine tidal power research on Monday, April 14, 2014 at 6 p.m. at Lubec Town Office. With the help of the local community, University of Maine scientists have been studying how tidal power impacts the residents and resources of Cobscook Bay. We would like to share the results of our work in 2013 and future work planned for the summer of 2014. Your input on how to make these results available and useful to you is needed. We're eager to hear your thoughts. Light snacks and refreshments will be provided.
John, what was that date again?
April 14th, it's a Monday.
Right. Now, they were here last year, and we had April 14th, 2014, at 6 p.m. here at the town office. I attended their meeting last year, and they had done quite a bit of test trawls in the Cobscook Bay. They had data regarding the species of fish in certain areas of the bay. And I've been in contact with Jessica about the green crab situation. And I'm hoping that part of this meeting can include something about that issue. Many of the local fishermen have said they've seen less. They think in those areas it's because of the shallower water and the cold may have knocked them down, but nobody's saying they're gone away completely. We had several local fishermen that attended the meeting last year that had provided important insight into things that this group was not aware of. So it was a good sharing of information, and I'm sure anyone has an interest in any part of this, attending will be pleased with the work that they've been doing.
It started out as a real rally, and I thought it was going to go somewhere good on the green crab.
Right.
When they want to get 50
Well, no
cents-
market.
Right, they want to get 50 cents a pound, if
So-
they have anything, right?
So for now,
What can you buy for 50 cents a pound?
also, here where they say we'd like to share the results of our work, your input on how to make these results available and useful to you is needed. Well, the new website,
Put it on the website.
come on, let's start using the technology. That's made for it. And then when Jim gets a computer, it'll know
I got one.
everything is going.
Yo, I'm on the web.
Oh, man,
Hey,
what is the world coming to?
I'm getting that.
Okay, so we look forward to that meeting at
6 p.m.
6 p.m. at the town office
Lubec
here,
Town.
Monday, April 14th. All right.
I'll be at the,
We'll send the,
take good notes.
okay, we're gonna film it.
The YouTube.
Another good. Love it.
All right. The next agenda item is to discuss the Boston Post cane. And I'd like Betty to share something about the Boston Post cane with us.
I will say, I was very impressed with the numbers. As far as back in the roaring 20s, maybe in 1919, the dates were really impressive. It made me feel very young. Wow.
Well, it also made me realize that we've got several candidates that are
Yeah,
potentials for the cane.
yeah. Wow.
Well, the purpose of the Boston Post cane was traditionally established in 1909 by the Boston Post newspaper. The special cane was presented to the Board of Selectmen and 431 towns in New England to be presented to an honor who was the town's oldest resident. The recipient held the honor as long as he or she lived or moved from the town. Upon his or her death or move, the cane would be awarded to the next oldest resident. Lubec is fortunate that we still have the original cane.
Wow. Yeah. I have heard stories.
It was missing for a while, but it was found and we now have it. We've presented to the last oldest resident, Miss Norma Hampton, and sadly she passed away. And the family has returned it. We made the decision a few years ago that we would, in the future, keep the cane here in the office, make a presentation to them so they could have the pictures taken with the cane. The cane will remain in the office and we will give them the pen that we already have ordered, so they'll have something.
Okay.
So at this point, what we need to do is, in the policy we set up, to make the decision on who the next person will be. They come up with, the committee should be made up of town clerk, selectmen, and somebody from the historical society to be on this committee, to do the research. And also, we've made out an application that we'll be putting on our website, so if anybody feels that they know who the oldest resident is or should be the recipient of this cane, they can fill the application out and turn it into a town office. We'll also advertise it in the newspaper. So at this point, what we need to do is get a committee set up. Committee members.
It's my understanding that Maureen is interested in being the select person on this committee.
Maureen has showed an interest as a board member, and Cecil Moore's from the Historical Society. We contacted Barbara, and the chairman of the Historical Society. She's out of town right now, I'm not sure when she'll be back, so we don't want to wait, we want to get moving.
What, that's right, get moving, time is.
So, what is okay, and name those committee members off again?
Was myself for the town clerk, Maureen Glidden as the selectman representative, and Cecil Moore as the representative.
Second. All in favor? Opposed, King, committee.
Go.
Can I say?
Now, the committee will make the decision
Those are the ones that
on
I
who this
found. Of course,
recipient
there may be
is.
other ones out there, so we don't want to mention any of those names.
That's what I was asking, I got it.
Yeah.
It is quite an impressive list.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
With the number of people. I think you could.
That's right. Oh, that. Thank you, John.
Good guy.
That one right there, should I have?
You're not on the committee.
Yeah.
I know I'm not on
Oh,
that.
okay. It's just,
It doesn't say anything about if you're a recipient. If you're a recipient, you can't be on the
That old. Felix in there.
I'm staying out of it.
Okay.
Next item we have is a reminder that sewer foreclosures are set for 4 p.m. Friday, March 28th, 2014. And Randy was working with the last person on the list to get that taken care of. So let's get Randy for his billing. Foreclosure for taxes is April 14th. And we still have a number of candidates.
Once again, folks, that is, the last day for sewer foreclosure is 4 p.m. Friday, March 28th, 2014.
Tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
That's gotta be an oversight on their part.
I know. Okay, please, folks, check your paperwork. Maybe you missed something in the mail, but if you have a funny feeling that you didn't pay that, you probably didn't,
They don't
so.
live around here.
Right.
Well,
No,
but
Randy's
Randy-
made contact and check his.
You ain't got no camera no more.
Postmark.
Are we okay?
No,
Oh, what happened?
I put new tape in and
And no.
it won't,
All right,
you
Don't roll.
know,
and I can't get it out
all right,
and it
we
shuts.
don't panic about nothing. We've got two other eyeballs on us.
do we?
Yeah, it's okay, Bobby.
I don't roll.
All right, thank you for
We start
letting
smoking the
us know.
regular fire extinguisher.
Okay. So that's the, that was, okay, so next is,
The Lubec Eastport Ferry. Steve Pagels came to a harbor board meeting with the pilot of the Lubec Eastport Ferry, Cecil K. And they discussed with the harbor board, the interest of Steve and Cecil to operate the ferry again this summer and transfer passengers back and forth. They discussed a docking fee, a commercial pier of $600 that they would be willing to pay. The harbor board accepted it. Get your thoughts.
I think it's, nice. It should be accepted.
Okay, make that a motion.
I make that a motion that we accept the $600.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor?
So what was money?
Well,
Determined
as I was
general fund.
As I pointed out to you before, the harbor ordinance is all of the equipment regarding the harbor, the commercial pier, the marine office, is user funded. The crane, all of that, the mooring fees, is supposed to put money into a war chest that is used for the maintenance of that equipment. And again, this season, we had somebody jack the key on the crane. That's another $600 out of our pocket for vandalism. And we're getting tired of this, and I'm telling you now that as soon as we get any money set aside, there's gonna be a security camera down there because we will prosecute to the fullest extent of the law. This is vandalism, plain and simple, and we're tired of it, and it inconveniences all the other fishermen who pay their key rental.
Right.
So, I know I got a little off base there, but the point of the matter is that
We'll
if
go
we
in the
have,
harbor board's
Hmm.
pot
yes,
of money.
exactly. And hopefully someday we have enough to rebuild the commercial
I'll
pier
find
the
out.
next time it needs
Right.
rebuilding, instead of having to go after a grant to do it.
Right, true.
All right, and thank you, Eastport Ferry.
Yes,
Yes.
very much.
Thank
Sorry.
you very much.
I mean, I know a lot of the local businesses are delighted when they see that come in, and
Right.
it's, again, it's gonna all tie in very nicely with all of the other activities.
We all like it, we all use it, we
Yeah.
all go back
Yeah.
more.
The other advantage is that if somebody is here on a vacation, what it does is it gives them access, to a whole different set of buildings. It makes the experience that much more enjoyable. And same thing with people over Eastport. They can now come over to Lubec and see what we have.
We
Right.
all do it.
So the more and more that we can enhance that experience for people, then the more likelihood that they're gonna come back and,
Right. And
support
being
our
on the
business.
water, I mean, 15 minutes versus 50 miles around by
Yeah.
car.
Nope,
Right.
nope. It's money well spent to get across the pond to us.
Oh, yeah.
All right, committee updates. The Shellfish Committee had a meeting in which we began at this time of year, we begin our conservation plans. And we also had the DMR regional representative, Dennis Nault, here. And we were advised that our conservation activities are not to include beach cleanup. That's not considered a conservation activity, although most of the assembled harvesters, of which there was about 25, felt that they would do that anyway, because while you're down there, it's the right thing to do. They've been keeping the parking areas where they access the beaches clean, and it's just the right thing to do, so.
Well, my own thought on it would be that it started out a long time ago to please people around the shoreline, that the clam diggers down there was willing to pick up and clean up the beach or whatever as a kindness thing, that they were just there just to make a living, and everybody could coexist in that. And it was kind of like on a volunteer thing. And over a period of time, it worked out pretty good. And now all of a sudden the state steps in and says, no, this is no longer part of it. Well, I've had quite a few people talk about trash on the beach or whatever, and how nice it is to get it picked up, and whether it's the scouts doing it, or whether it's some
Numerous
committee.
other groups.
Yeah, and all of a sudden now, that's not conservation. Well, I think it is. Old tires, cans, stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
Gee,
And our next meeting, the next Shellfish Committee meeting is April 22nd at 5 p.m. And the committee will have pretty much ironed out the areas that we're going to do some of the real conservation work. for this year. We still are not rushing headlong into the green crab issue simply because we need to dispose of them in an appropriate fashion. So, five. And notices for this are on the website and around town in different locations. So please, you got to get your 2 hours of meeting time in, and if you attended the last one, this will be your second meeting, and then it's just when we're going to have our outings. We'll probably have a transplant in May or two, and of course, this year, something new we're going to try is roughing, which is being recommended by DMR as to take a test area. And we're all entitled to our opinion.
Thank you very much.
But yes, please attend the next meeting, harvesters.
Yeah.
The CDBG Town Improvement Committee will be meeting tomorrow at 4 p.m. The Municipal Facilities Committee will be holding a public hearing April 29th. And that'll be on the Public Works Garage and Sand Salt Shed. I've talked to Peter Coughlin. He's going to be able to attend the meeting. We're going to be able to use his wealth of knowledge and experience to talk about sand salt sheds, what's worked in other communities, what hasn't worked. The size of the sand salt shed was based on his recommendation, based on our miles of road, and a formula that he uses to determine
How many
on an
cubic
average
feet of sand?
how much sand we need to hold. And I talked to him about the process for putting up a public building. You know, what we have to go through, what is required of the building. We've had some, questions, why can't you do it like what you got in your backyard? Whereas it's a public building, it's gotta be ADA approved, it's got, a whole host of requirements. And I'm hoping he can shed some light on what those requirements are. And I think once people are educated, this committee has really worked with an engineer last year to get the project where it needed to be. They've gone through, they've made changes, and they're not putting anything in the building that really doesn't have to be there by statute.
I think the big upset is looking at it from a residential point of view. Someone will build a garage or something, and then we give them the specs on the building that's got to be done for municipality, and they're not aware of that code.
Right.
And that code means some serious money.
Right.
And we got no alternative, and that's a good enlightenment for us.
Well, that was the thing is, I think when the committee first got the spec sheet back from Sewell, why does it cost so much for a door? You can get one at Home Depot so much cheaper. Well, yeah, but this door needs to be a certain size and width. Same thing with windows. I mean, there's a lot of things that add to the cost of the project. And it has to do with the fact that this is a public building and it's going to be built with public funds. So April 29th, Peter Coughlin will be there, bring your questions, and he'll be able to answer them.
That'll be the second in a series of public information meetings, and we had an excellent turnout last time, and we're hoping more people come out to this one. Please attend.
The last item I want to talk about is Mike Scrivani and I attended a meeting in Prior 3 Development Corp. in Campobello. This is the group that's been working with us to bring cruise ships into Welsh Pool. There was a number of people there. This group is highly energized and they're dedicated to this project. They talked about working with the Port of St. John, Tourism Canada. I can really see that this group is going to have the momentum to carry through with this project. They're looking to bring in cruise ships of 100 to 300 passenger size into Welsh Pool and then use the entire area as part of their destination. So I think that that's going to increase a lot of the traffic in our downtown area, in our business district, and hopefully our merchants and restaurants will be able to take advantage of it.
Yep, that's wonderful.
So,
Did we have a contact, is there a website contact for them yet?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not yet.
When that occurs, though, let's make sure that's linked to the town website and get that out there.
You mentioned Peter Hayworth or something.
Peter Hayworth was one of the ones who came in a few years ago about, I think he was not really with this group, but I think he was looking at the future of the tourism increase in our region. And in order to help market that, was interested in the location of a camera somewhere here in Lubec that would be aimed at Campobello. And what was interesting was you accessed it through a website, and you could steer the camera and focus it for 5 minutes at a time. And if someone else wasn't waiting right after that, you got the next 5 minutes. And I don't know whatever became of it. I don't know if he followed through on asking some of the local business people who had rooftops. But apparently it was some sort of a bubble-type security camera that was weatherproofed and was hooked up to a Wi-Fi hookup that was linked to a website. So that was one idea. Our website, has beautiful scenery movies of our town. I don't know if Campobello has a website like that, but I think if anyone's going to benefit from something like that, it would be this group, because this is what they're presenting is the beauty, the natural beauty of our region.
I would assume that Vern McKinney, that's wrapped up.
He is, and yes,
This over to
he's instrumental
Roosevelt.
in this.
And I know he's a heartbeat in the whole thing. And I know that they've got some sites, I don't know what that, but I bet you that there'd be a lot of information on that.
Yep. Stay tuned. Okay.
I have one committee update.
Wait just a minute.
Yes.
Let me finish this one. You mentioned the harbor board, but you didn't mention the next meeting, which will be April
Oh.
16th at 7 p.m.
Thank you. And of course, those meetings are open to the public, and I strongly urge everyone who has an interest to attend, especially fishermen. Thank you, Betty. Yes, Sarah.
Lubec's Scudic International Sculpture Symposium Committee, otherwise known as Lubec SIS, because it is a mouthful. We are now meeting weekly. We just got done, Scudic SIS themselves, the bigger group, had nearly 200 applicants for sculptors. They then took those 200 and narrowed them down to 7, which were then presented to the 7 communities that are in this year's symposium. So we were presented with the 7 artists, and we then had to choose our favorites. So our committee, we had a meeting actually here in Lubec that was open to the public, and we had some other local artists and community members that helped us, shared their opinions on who they liked, and then the committee got together and we picked our top 3, which then we submit to Scudic, who then have to take everybody's picks and see who gets who.
Wow.
So we should know that probably the middle of next month, which artists will be coming to complete the sculpture that will be placed here. We had a fundraiser planned that we had to postpone, our bingo
Oh,
fundraiser.
okay, I was gonna
We're
ask.
still working on that, so I'll
Okay.
keep people updated,
Okay.
Yeah,
because a lot of people were pretty
Looking
amped up
forward to
about
it.
it.
yeah, oh, yeah.
But now we have a new event that will be on May 3rd, and we've already had a good response to it. It's the chili and chowder cook-off, the
Ooh.
easternmost
Easter.
chili and chowder cook-off.
Very
So
creative, wow.
anybody, amateurs, professionals, and even kids, if they want to enter, we'll be having that event on May 3rd.
When do you have to sign in by? When do you have to?
We will have registration forms available, and we would like to have them by the end of April. I can't remember the
I think it
date.
was April 26th, I think. I
Sure.
saw.
When the individual sculptor is selected, when we know who our person is, when do we get to meet him?
Or she.
Or she?
Oh, that's right, golf.
There,
Did I say them or him? Sorry.
I believe there was one female in the group, and there were 2 artists from Maine, another from the United States, and the others were from other countries. So who the artist is that's chosen for us and where they live will depend on when they'll be here. So the artists that are from other countries, they'll come right before the symposium, and we'll have those dates available, and we'll host the artist here for a day or so. Let them get to know the area and
Good.
have a little party for them, I guess, and
Yep.
welcome them.
Exactly.
And we will be having more fundraisers, and there's not much time left, so we need to raise a lot of money in a short amount of time. So if anybody wants to help out,
That chili ought to get things
And,
moving along.
we hope so.
Ooh.
Okay, any other committee updates?
Hmm.
Then we'll go to public comment.
No,
Okay.
No, we'll go to Betty comment.
I'm not on the
Okay.
committee, I'm on the committee one. Just remind everybody that, basketball season is coming to an end.
Okay.
It's been a long season. Yes. The junior high girls and boys from the 8th grade, for 8th graders will be honored tomorrow night at the school for their commitment to the athletic program. Be done at the halftime of each of the games. The girls will be done at their halftime, and the boys will be done at their halftime. Also, there are only 4 games left. Tomorrow night, March 28th, March 31st, and April 7th, the only 4 games that we have home. And then the playoffs will be. So everything should be wrapped up by April vacation. The next town's budget meeting is April 9th. And we just mentioned the public hearing, which will be at the school, 6 o'clock on April 29th from the Public Works Facilities and Salt Shed.
We have no public comment. We have a public service announcement. Are you about to walk out of your house? Have you checked if your keys are in your pocket? Are you about to close that car door? Are your keys in the ignition? This message is brought to you by Key Finders. Always check before you leave the house so you don't lock yourself in or out, folks. Thank you.
You know what's really crazy about that? I had to call my wife. She had to come unlock the house. Because I walked out of the house this afternoon and the keys was on the counter. And that's the gospel. And I thought you were being smart on me.
I was. Because she told me.
Oh, you jerk! Yep.
It's awful cold out.
Huh?
It's awful cold out.
It is. That's right.
It wasn't
It
too
is.
bad in the pickup truck with the doors shut.
Now, how many hits are we gonna get on this one? That's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
wanna know.
Hey, the ratings just went through the roof.
I
Come
know.
on. That's why they only have me be the chair once in a while.
Right. One thing I'd like to announce,
Oh.
Maureen Glidden could not make it tonight. She is under the weather.
Mhm.
So she,
Wish you well, Maureen.
Yes. Get well, come back soon.
Please,
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session. Discussing, federal records,
confidential.
confidential records, one MISA, is that an S? 4056F.
Street issues.
Oh, yes, on these street issues, thank you, street issues.
we have a
yeah.
motion.
I'll second that.
We have a second. All in favor? Good night, folks.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Before you break, John, you were reluctant to announce the last name.
He's
Good
sitting
point.
there like,